Life as a WWE fan has been very interesting the past few days. There's been a lot to talk about, a lot of things happening over social media, potential implications of the future happening here, and it's all down to Ronda Rousey. What's up, everybody? It's the Sports Code, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. WWE update news. This is going to be very interesting, especially this is pretty much one of the first times something like this has really happened between superstars, especially through social media. A lot of backlash happening from Ronda Rousey's fans, people attacking her left, right and center, and the reason why. Before we get started, please like and subscribe for more WWE update videos. Please like and subscribe if you believe Ronda Rousey is either right or wrong in this context, and let me know why in the comments below. Why do you think Ronda Rousey is right, or why do you think she's wrong, and if you agree with the rest of the WWE female roster? So without further ado, we'll get started. So I believe in a podcast, Ronda Rousey was talking about the WWE. She had a very interesting things to say. First off, she said that she really does love the WWE. She loves the competitors in the WWE, and she had a great time being there. However, she ruled out that she will be working there full time. It doesn't look like she's going to be a full-time performer anymore, which is something in of itself is very controversial, but that's not the most controversial thing here. So in terms of working full-time or not, at the end of the day, Ronda Rousey's earned the right to do whatever she pleases. She's made her money. She's made a hell of a career in the UFC and in the WWE. If she doesn't want to work full-time, that's pretty much all up to her at this point. And she said that WWE fans were very ungrateful, and she didn't, basically saying that she didn't like performing in front of WWE fans because they were very ungrateful, they didn't respect her, etc, etc. And she also called WWE fake, and she compared it to the UFC, saying if there were 300 fights in the UFC, real fights, 300 nights a year, then those people would be dead, compared to the WWE, considering that it's fake. That's why it's very different, and she obviously is in favor of the UFC as a tougher sport. Now, there's a lot to dissect in that. So obviously we mentioned about the full-time work. Ronda Rousey has the right to choose whether she wants to be a full-time worker or not. I think she's made a hell of a career out of her life, and that's why she has the right to do that in that area. So I don't think anybody's too fussed about if Ronda Rousey works full-time or not. I think most people, after what she said, basically don't even want to see her return. So yeah, that's one thing. Another thing is she called the fans outrage or ungrateful or outrageous. Now, I have to go and play two sides here. So for Ronda Rousey to think the fans are ungrateful, I think some fans are definitely ungrateful, but that's not to say that we don't deserve to be ungrateful. WWE fans, we pay our money, we buy the product, we buy the network, we buy products on WWEshop.com, we do all of these things in order to get the best service possible for our money. That's all we want. We want the best product that we can watch and enjoy and entertain with the money that we spend to watch it. At the end of the day, that's all we want. So yes, we might be ungrateful, but we're only ungrateful because we believe that the product can be better. That's why a lot of fans are ungrateful. So we have the right to be ungrateful. At the end of the day, WWE are putting a product for us to see, and we in return either like it or not like it. That doesn't necessarily determine if we're ungrateful or grateful. I'm telling you now, if WWE took a break, we would all be grateful for their return. That's just the way it is. At the moment, WWE are putting on a product that we all seem to be content or neutral about, but there are some things that we don't like and some things that we like. With Ronda Rousey's run, I think everybody really enjoyed Ronda Rousey when she first came into the WWE. I couldn't find one person that really thought this was a bad idea. But the way she was used throughout her run that first year, basically dominating everybody, yeah, you have the right to say, okay, this is not what I wanted, so therefore I'm going to change my reaction. That's just the way it is. It's not being ungrateful. It's just changing your opinion on a matter that's been forced out of you at the end of the day. She just ran through everybody. She didn't lose a match until her very last match. I know that they tried to make her a monster, but at the end of the day, she did things that a lot of people didn't like. So why shouldn't they boo? Why shouldn't they voice their opinions? This world is opinion based. They're allowed to voice their opinions of a disapproval. That's not them being ungrateful. Yes, some fans are ungrateful, but I think it's very unfair to categorize every single WWE fan as ungrateful, or categorize them in general as ungrateful. That's not how it works, and it never will be how it works. So for that, I have to say I disagree with Ronda Rousey. But at the end of the day, she has the platform to voice her opinions, as do I, as do everybody. So I could disagree with her, and that should be fine. That should be it. She has her opinion, I have mine. Next up, she called WWE fake compared to UFC, and she's claimed if UFC had 300 fights a night, then those fighters would end up being dead because of how many fights they would have. Look, at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with her saying UFC is a tougher sport than WWE. That's each to their own. If I did UFC and I did WWE, I would be able to decide which one I think is tougher. And I think as a real fight, you have hits to the head, you have concussion protocols on a regular basis. And at the end of the day, that's two people trying to hurt each other. That's the difference here. So if you're saying UFC is a tougher sport than WWE, to an extent, I can agree with that. But you cannot tell me that WWE is fake. I don't care. I'm not an 8-year-old kid. I know how the business works. But people put their lives at risk nearly every night in WWE. There are people that simply cannot wrestle anymore because of how much effort, how much time, how much pain they put themselves for fans and for the product itself to make it the best it can possibly be. Calling it fake is for me, it's completely disrespectful. Compared to the UFC, both of them are not fake. Let's just say that UFC is definitely not fake, but WWE isn't fake either. You can't just say, oh, because it's fake fighting, that it doesn't take a toll on your body. She even admits it is very grueling to work 300 nights a year for WWE. And that's fine. It is 100%. It is. Not many people can do it. It takes a very special person, which is why people that wrestle are very special people, because they have the capability of doing that. Up until their 40s, really. There's AJ Styles is nearly 40 years old and is doing this on a full-time basis. So that's what I mean. You can't call this fake. You can't call throwing yourself onto wood and canvas fake. You can't call taking a bump fake. Getting thrown off a ladder is fake. That's not how it works. The only thing I think is fake about WWE is the predetermined outcomes, really. Yes, it's fake fighting, it's an entertainment factor, but it's not fake. They're not trying to physically hurt each other, but at the same time, it just isn't fake. If you're a WWE fan, you get that. It's not fake. And I think that's the big problem with what Ronda Rousey said. Not necessarily comparing it to the UFC, that's fine. She's done both. She's one of the very few that can compare the two. It's not necessarily comparing the fans. At the end of the day, that's her opinion. If she thinks they're ungrateful, then that's her choice of opinion, and we can disagree on that. But calling it fake, I just think is not true at all. It's at the end of the day, there are many people that have fought back against Ronda Rousey on this statement. Let's go to Alexa Bliss. She commented on Twitter. I don't have the actual tweet with me, but I'll be sure to give it to you on the video. She basically said she linked her WWE 365 documentary claiming how she was out for nearly a year, but then she said it must be fake. There's just one example, a very light example compared to others, but being out for a year due to concussions is no joke. That could end a career if she was going to continue and not take that break for a year. And that's it. That's just how it is. Just because it's quote-unquote fake fighting doesn't mean people don't get hurt. The WWE has an injury list compared to the world's greatest sports, including UFC. The injury list is beyond belief, and most of the time, I can't believe how many superstars get injured in WWE. You also have Lana, WWE Lana, commenting on Twitter or Instagram. I don't know which one. Again, I'll find it for you. Basically saying it's absolutely outrageous, the comments that she was saying. She said superstars like Paige, like Edge, that couldn't wrestle for the longest time and had to give up their dream. Daniel Bryan is another one. I don't know if she mentioned Daniel Bryan, but there's one as well. Edge couldn't fight for 11 years. Paige physically cannot fight anymore because of this business. It's complete lack of respect, basically, is what Lana's trying to say. It is what I agree with that. I agree with what Lana has to say. At the end of the day, Ronda Rousey, she can compare the UFC, but she knows, everybody knows, this business is for real. This business is real, and it's damaging to people. There are people that have killed themselves in that ring that deserve more respect than what Ronda Rousey has put to them. That's just how it is. People have died in that ring. And I'm sure it's the same. I don't know much about UFC history, but I'm sure it's the same. People have died in that ring in UFC. People have died in this ring in WWE. Just because one is more physical than another doesn't mean that one's fake. That's just what I have to say about that. And she put great examples. Edge, she put great examples to Paige, Daniel Bryan. There's been many people that have had to sacrifice their dream of wrestling because they physically can't do it anymore. So, at the end of the day, these people don't think it's fake. That's just it. These people don't think it's fake. Real things happen in this ring. And also, you have the final one I'm going to mention. I'm sure there is more. If there is more, let me know. But the last one I'm going to mention is Nia Jax. Nia Jax tweeting that she wishes that Ronda Rousey could have versed Nia Jax again, so she could show her how real it is and finally knock out Ronda Rousey and risk her job and all of this. Again, this to me seems like a bit of an overreaction, but Nia Jax, it seems like she does tend to get emotional at times, especially with stuff like this. She said that Ronda Rousey is attacking the business that she likes, she loves. So I think this is a fair tweet or fair reaction to it, but I don't think it's the most professional thing to do. But at the end of the day, it's been said. She has the platform, just as Ronda Rousey does, to say or do whatever she feels like, and at the moment WWE doesn't seem to be punishing her for anything like that, so that's just her opinion and she's voicing it out to the public. We've seen stories, we've heard stories about Ronda Rousey attacking or injuring Alexa Bliss. Even though it hasn't been confirmed, we've seen all these stories about Ronda Rousey being sloppy in the ring. Look, she has been in this business for 1 year. I'm going to defend Ronda Rousey in that retrospect. She's only been in the WWE business for 1 year. It's not her fault she's been pushed to the moon by WWE, winning every single match, every time, the Raw Championship, dominating through everybody. That's just not how this should have went in the first place. And in many cases, it's WWE's fault for putting that sort of pressure on her to be one of the best wrestlers in the world, when just at the time she wasn't. She had a very good match, her very first match at WrestleMania. It was fantastic. People loved her. She was amazing for a first timer. You put her in the ring for Raw every single week, for pay-per-views, winning titles, and all of this. You already know that she wasn't going to be ready for that. She's only been in the business for 1 year, so I can see why she thinks the fans turning their back on her is a little bit ungrateful. I can see why she has all these comments about WWE. It's because she hasn't been there long enough. That's honestly what I believe. She hasn't been in that business long enough to actually grasp what seriousness WWE is compared to other sports. And at the end of the day, this is controversy that to me has been taken a little bit out of proportion. It's a little bit too serious for my liking for the two. I'm interested to see if Ronda Rousey does come back to the WWE. Fans have been outraged with her comments, saying that you should never work for WWE again. Don't bother coming back. You were bad coming into WWE and all of this. And again, she just hasn't been there long enough. If WWE were ever going to do something very successful with Ronda Rousey, you need to keep her in NXT, the Performance Center, for as long as you can, until she's ready to have a moment like that. And I just don't think at the time she was. Don't get me wrong, she looked good for how much experience she had. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough. And WWE fans reacted to it, then she reacted back, and now these superstars are not attacking Ronda Rousey, but disagreeing with her and explaining why. And those are the people that have been in this business for years and get the history. So they for sure I agree with those people. WWE is real. WWE means a lot to everybody. People have died in that ring. People have sacrificed their body, sacrificed their careers for one match or for one moment in their life. It is a very traumatic experience to many people that have been in that circumstance. I'm sure if you ask any of them, they don't think that it's fake. Because if it was fake, then they'd be doing this for the rest of their life until they no longer can. But sometimes their future gets stopped to a halt. It's unacceptable to say that it's fake, in my opinion. People that don't understand it and say it's fake, for me, that's a little bit easier to digest than someone that has actually been in the WWE and saying that it's fake. The whole concept of the match, the winner, the outcome, yes, that to me is fake. But the actual bumps you take, the being thrown off ladders, being thrown into tables, to me, you can't fake that stuff. Yes, it could be easier because you're trained to land and all of this, whatever. We all have heard these stories before, but it just isn't fake. And I hope that down the line, people can understand this. It's a message that's been wrongfully put out there by one of the most popular athletes in the world, in my opinion. And hopefully people can just see it's not fake. Compared to UFC, they're both dangerous sports. Let's just leave it at that. So I want to thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Let me know, do you guys think wrestling is fake? I'll put that as a poll question, and tell me why in the comments below, why you believe it is fake or isn't fake, and we can have a discussion about it. This is the Sports Code. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. Next WWE related video will probably be about WWE 2K21. There's been interesting news on that, so I'll bring that to you as quickly as I can. This is the Sports Code. Have a wonderful day. Take care and peace.